Hello and welcome back. This is listening experience number 2. And this week we are discussing the English horn. The English horn is like the big sister to the oboe. It's pitched in the key of F, which means if you play a C on an English horn, you get an F on the piano. So oboe players often will be tasked with playing this as a secondary instrument in orchestras and concert bands. Pitch-wise, it's like halfway between oboe and bassoon. So if you're an oboe player professionally, it's expected that you also can play the English horn. They're a little bit different, but advanced players get used to doing that. It's a descendant of medieval instruments, and it's taken different forms over the years. There's a true-false question in your little quiz about it being an animal, coming from an animal horn, and that's actually how brass instruments got started, but not the English horn. So it has nothing to do with that. That's just false. The oboe is a direct descendant of an instrument called the shawm from Middle Ages, and the English horn, cor anglais, is how it's pronounced. It was originally created in around 1720 in Poland. So I don't know why it's not called the Polish horn, because they're the ones that came up with it. But I've got, on the little quiz, I've got a bunch of different pictures of them for you to look at. Since it's very much like an oboe, it does use an English horn reed, which is a double reed. So it's got the two reeds that come together and the air goes through them, and when the two reeds slap back together, that's what makes the buzzing sound, and the instrument just amplifies that. The piece of music we're going to listen to today is the Antonin Dvorak Symphony number 9. It's called the New World Symphony, or From the New World. And he was commissioned, which means somebody hired him specifically to write this piece, by the New York Philharmonic. And they were, at the time, and still are, one of the leading orchestras in the world. And he happened to be in America for a while. And while he was here, they wanted to take advantage of his expertise. So they hired him to write this tune. And the part that we're going to hear today is the slow movement, and you'll hear the English horn solo, and it's actually based on some of Dvorak's travels throughout the country, and he was inspired by hearing Negro spirituals, and that's where he got the idea for this melody. It's beautiful, very recognizable. You'll hear it. There's something a little different about the English horn versus the oboe, and they have this little piece that sticks out the top, which is a little metal neck, and what they call it is a bocal, B-O-C-A-L. Kind of like if you look at a bassoon, it has a big long one that's curved, but again, the English horn is shorter, so it's, a few inches, it's maybe 2 to 3 inches long, depending on the model. And the reed goes on the outside of that, whereas an oboe reed goes on the inside of the instrument. There's kind of it's a running joke. The best French horns are made in England, and the best English horns are made in France. So there's actually a company called Loret that makes the higher end instruments that orchestral artists around the world would be known to use. So some of the best French horns are made by a company in England, and the best English horns are made in France. So you can make that joke someday if you need, material. And in popular culture, if you look at the cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band, you'll notice Paul McCartney standing right in the middle behind the bass drum in a blue coat, holding an English horn. It's kind of funny. The whole picture is hilarious. There's all these other cutout people and dolls and movie stars and stuff. But yeah, he's got an English horn right in the middle of that. It's kind of funny. So the English horn. Here's just a little bit about this. And then we have a nice orchestral video I will show you. Here we go. Sorry, turned up the volume a little bit there. So it's kind of got a distant, plaintive sound. It's not quite as bright as an oboe or as dark as a bassoon. It's sort of halfway in between. Okay, so that's your introduction there to the English horn, and I hope you enjoyed it. So we will have more next week when we get on to our next instrument.